barely notice problem, let alone count. And yet, they happen. Why? Well, in most cases, it's because.
Did that start playing, everybody?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. I have no idea. There's no rhyme or reason to this because uh-oh. Now what happened? There we go. All right. Well, Emily, what in the world? All right. Let me try this one more time. I'm not going to do the video, but I'm going to try. How about this video? Could you see that one and hear it?
I can only see it, can't hear it.
So sorry. Daggone it. All right. This is unbelievable. All right. I want to try something even more drastic. Please forgive me. All right. Now I'm going to open that. I'm going to share. And then I'm going to, there we go. All right. Okay, I'm going to try this one more time, and then we'll have a crapshoot after that. Let me know, if you will, if you can hear this and see it. Well, now I can't even get the video to start. All right, here's Chad. See if you can figure out what.
Hi, I'm Chad Muller, former professional baseball player of 16 years, 7 of those in
It's
the
working.
Okay, thank you. Oh, why did it do that? All right. And in this video with Chad, if you would listen really close, see if he has all the elements of a good Safe Start story. That's on page 18. And what his states and his critical errors were, and then answer the 2 questions that are there.
Sport. I absolutely love playing this game from a young age till I was much older. There are some inherent dangers that come with this sport, but most of the serious injuries happen away from the game. It happens during practice. This is my Safe Start story. So I'm at batting practice, taking our swings like we do every single day. Have done it thousands and thousands of times. I'm talking to my coach. There's one guy in front of me yet. My coach is telling me how well things have been going, how well my swing's been working. I don't have my helmet on yet at that point. I start to take a couple steps back, still talking to my coach. I'm not turning around. I'm not looking where I'm going. My teammate's taking his last practice swing before stepping into the cage. Slam, full swing, right to my shoulder. Absolute pain shooting through my arm. Drops me right down to the ground. So I'm on the ground, my shoulder in excruciating pain. Thank goodness it's my left shoulder is my first thought. Coaches are around me. They're tending to my shoulder. Needless to say, the trainers come up, take me off the field. I'm done for the day. The reality is it could have been so much worse. That swing hit me in the shoulder. That's just a bruise. Bruises heal real easily. If that swing had been a little bit higher. Now we're talking the head, the neck. You got guys swinging bats 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. I didn't even have my helmet on because I wasn't worried about that danger at that point. I was worried about getting hit by a ball, not by somebody's bat. If that bat had hit me in the neck or the head, now we're talking permanent damage or worse. This can happen anywhere, anytime. It doesn't have to be on a major league field. I was looking at a coach. I wasn't paying attention. It hit me in the shoulder. A couple inches higher, I might not be talking to you today.
Right. Now, was everybody able to hear that whole video? Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a thumbs up too. Good. All right, here we go. Did Chad have all the elements of a safe start? You could give me a thumbs up now. Yes, wake up. All right. What were his states or state? Yeah, there you go. Good job. Yeah, complacency, right? So comfortable with where he was and his surroundings, he actually took a step back without looking first. All right. Critical errors that state led to. Any help there? There you go. Eyes not on task, mind not on task, which put him right in the line of fire. Good job. All right. Even though Chad was a catcher, he was extremely familiar with the line of fire hazards on the baseball field. For just a moment, he wasn't thinking about them or looking for them. In situations like this, it helps to practice a specific safety-related habit. Do you see one or more listed on the right that could have helped Chad prevent this or at least keep it from happening again? There are two of them on panel number 4 that he check marked. There you go, 3 and 5. Move your eyes first before you move your hands, feet, body, or car. Everybody's getting this right. Good job. And looking for line of fire potential before moving. Good job. Thank you for doing that. And I may have mentioned this before, but one of the safety-related habits that's helped me the most after I got involved with SafeStar was that first one there, moving your eyes first before you move your hands, feet, body, or car. The line of fire potential is actually avoided when you move your eyes before you move. And that spoken by a true athlete. Did you hear what he said? He said, I went down my left shoulder in excruciating pain. My first thought was, thank goodness it's my left shoulder. You know, he was concerned about his right shoulder being good enough to where he could keep playing. But yeah, and I've talked to a lot of people through the years for Safe Start, recognizing that a lot of these folks said their worst injury in the sport they played was in practice. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that complacency sets in when we're not actually on our game, when we're actually playing the game, that we do things we wouldn't normally do under play conditions. So I'm going to give you a Safe Start story about a close call that I probably would say I've repeated more than once. So on page 23, review the elements of a good Safe Start story. Did I have them? And also what my states and my critical errors were. And this is the view going down my basement stairs. When I have do-it-yourself things I do around the house, I have certain tools that I have down in the basement. I usually set up a game plan on what I need as far as tools, but it's inevitable that sometimes you either forget or something else comes up in the middle of that do-it-yourself project where you needed a special tool. So I found myself going down the stairs. I duck every time going down, but you'll notice that the duct closest to the stairs is high enough that you never hit it. But the other side sticks down about an inch and a half. Now, the problem starts when I get the tool and want to hurry back upstairs to get back to doing the job. And luckily, that inch and a half isn't enough to come down and hit me in the middle of the forehead, or I'd have visible proof that I've done it multiple times. But what it does is right when you get under it, it's angled a little bit. So it kind of stoves you up. And I don't need any more stoving up in my spinal area because I've got some issues there with old age coming in. So usually my wife can tell when I've done that because she said, I can hear you cussing upstairs. She said, I've never heard anybody talk so harshly to themselves. But it just aggravated me that I kept doing it after living at this house for over 20 years, especially being a professional Safe Start person. So anyway, I looked at that situation and I tried to analyze why I kept doing this. So that's my story. Like I said, it could have been a whole lot worse if that duct would have been low enough to hit me on the forehead. Then I would have probably had some injuries involved in it. So that's my story. Pretty short and sweet. Did I have all the elements of a good Safe Start story? Thumbs up will suffice if they're all there. Yep. Thank you. Good job. Appreciate the help. What about my states? Any help there? Complacency, most definitely. I've been there a long time and I've done it repeatedly. And Javier, there you go, rushing, being in a hurry to get back upstairs, getting involved in what I was doing. Good job. All right. And then the critical errors that those states led to? Line of fire. And what set me up for the line of fire? There you go. Good job. Eyes and mind not on task. So those states set up the first three critical errors. Now, I will tell you, since I started using that example as a Safe Start story, you could probably guess that I haven't had an issue with that since, because it keeps it top of mind with me every time I actually do the Unit 2 sessions. And the last time when I finally said, this is enough, I'm not going to do this anymore, I did something that I teach everybody to do on a regular basis. I analyze close calls. I asked myself, was it a state like rushing, frustration, or fatigue that I didn't self-trigger on or self-trigger on quick enough, which I knew that rushing was, or maybe it's mind not on task, complacency leading to mind not on task, which means I had some habits to work on. And that habit, first of all, analyzing the close calls, the habit would have been moving my eyes first before I move my hands, feet, body, or car. It's amazing how this will work if you actually give it the opportunity to do so. But it just goes to also show you how quickly complacency can set in. I always look and duck on my way down, but I have a tendency to forget to do it by the time I get ready to go back upstairs. Prime example of complacency. All right. Now, hopefully some folks remembered from the previous unit that this story subject matter is about a time when you had a close call or an injury because you were in one or more of the four states leading to one or more of the four critical errors, and you moved either your body or your vehicle without looking first. So if you have one, go ahead and let me know, and you can go ahead and tell it now, or I can give you a few minutes to come up with one. And I know that we probably got a lot of people working out in the field, just like Juan. If you cannot open your mic to tell the story, you can. Thank you, Leanne, because that's exactly what I was going to say. You can type it in the chat. Fell on the ice and broke your shoulder. Ouch! Daggone. Yeah, that's another one. I had a lady that was actually with ACO. It might have been a long time ago. She slipped. There was a little bit of ice on the driveway with snow on top of it. And she actually got a concussion and had some problems with vertigo after that happened. So we actually had one of the ladies in our office that spent Christmas on the couch with a concussion. So, God, that's a perfect example. Broken shoulder. Okay, so I'm gonna say this, or I'll tell you what. Can anybody put in the? Okay, there we go. Your husband told me not to park in the back of the house, and I did anyway. Leanne, that's usually the reverse. It's it's usually the wife telling the husband not to do it, and they do it anyway, and then suffer the consequences. Thank you for giving that part in there because getting that little heads up from the other person and probably recognizing there could be some complacency in that situation like that. Somebody else usually sees the complacency in us before we do. Um, I'm guessing that it was more convenient to do that or maybe quicker. Was there a little bit of rushing involved in that, Leanne? Yeah, that's what I thought. And rushing and complacency leading to, I'm going to guess, eyes not on task, mind not on task. I think we got all four, matter of fact. Am I right? Yep. Okay, good job. Good job. All right. See, didn't take a whole lot, but it was enough to be able to recognize the state their risk pattern in the situation. Gosh. And then already gave an example of how it could have been worse. It could have been people that actually got brain injuries. My boss, Larry, did that. He lives in Windsor or Whistler, and the new puppy had to go out, and he did it and slipped in the driveway and a little bit of ice underneath the snow. And oh, shoot, the main bone in your leg, just below the hip bone. Um, Broke it completely in two. So not an easy heal in that situation right there. Femur, there you go. I don't know why I couldn't remember it, but yeah, um, slipping on the ice. Good, perfect example. All right. Anyone else? That's a good one, Leah. Okay. All right. Last chance. There's always a time when somebody has a really good story, and after I move on, they go, "Oh man, I wish I would have shared that story." Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. And the importance of the Safe Start stories, I can't stress how important they actually are, uh, and especially at work. And I'm pretty sure that's pretty evident with everybody there at ATCO because I've had a lot of people that hadn't even been through Safe Start yet that could actually tell me what the states and errors were just by um, what they got from their shift supervisors beginning of shift. So that's so awesome. Slipping off the roof. Oh, thank you, Mitchell. That's another perfect example. And that would have been a good one for the looking at others for the patterns increase risk of injury, right? When you see somebody else doing it, slipping off the roof, almost slipping off the roof. Very awkward feeling and very horrible feeling when you know you're on your way down and there's no way to yourself. Uh, that gutter, if it's firmly nailed to the fascia board on the roof, has actually been a lifesaver for a lot of people. Um, Good job. Thank you for that. And I'm sure there was probably at least some complacency in there, Mitchell, I'm guessing. And maybe even a little bit of rushing sometimes in those situations. But eyes, mind, and sheesh, balance, traction, and grip could have definitely ended up in a line of fire that could have been really bad. Thank you. Good job. All right. Even when we can't use the mic, we can virtually do it and make it happen, only because you're willing to do it. Again, so impressed. It took every effort that. So here's what we've got going on: practice instructions between units. This is going to be before we had a CERT example of looking at others, and we had a safe start story about moving our body or our car without looking first. We're going to change the subject up a little bit now so that between unit one or unit two, two things to do on page 26. In addition to preparing a new safe start story, we'll also start practicing the second CERT in close calls. Panel number 3 and 4 of the CERT card will record what you experienced. Complete at least one per week. If you're going to be doing the Unit 3 training this week, just if you give me one, I'll be happy. Between now and tomorrow. Aspects of analyzing close calls. Panel number 3, how could it have been worse? Panel number 4, spotting the state their risk pattern involved in the close call, right? Briefly, excuse me, stumbled down a ladder on the weekend. So you're thinking about how this could have been their risk pattern involved in the close call. And we got another thing that we do with analyzing close calls that I just gave you an example of in my story about the heating duct in the basement. Really important analyze close call. Was it a state like rushing, frustration, or fatigue that I didn't self-trigger on? Or if it was complacency leading to mind not on task, it's probably a safety-related habit, which we're going to address in Unit 3, that could have used some more work. And page 27, just like in Unit 1, if you dog ear that page, well, I always say dog ear, but you're probably doing it virtually. Here's what your story subject matter is going to be. Write this down somewhere. A close call or an injury at work. When you personally were in one or more of the 4 states, leading to one or more of the 4 critical errors. All right. Then we're going to add a little bit more to it in Unit 3 when it comes to the critical error reduction techniques that would have helped prevent it. Practice telling that story to someone you know at work or away from work. And make sure you've got that analyze close call card filled out. Page 28, increasing safety awareness in Unit 2. There are 4 critical errors and 4 extremely effective critical error reduction techniques, as long as we're able to practice them enough to use them in real time. Looking at others for risk patterns helps you fight complacency by increasing fireworks. Safety on the road in the holidays can also be something that could be very dangerous. Raising our awareness to it. Getting the kids involved by giving them those little activities to do on a regular basis. Hazard hunting around the house. I used this at the elementary school where I actually taught Safe Start to kids in our neighborhood, and getting them to go around the room and look for the Boo Boo Bandits, hard, sharp, hot, and slippery. It was amazing how they were able to find those things that the teachers had no idea were a safety hazard in that classroom. Next session, you'll practice applying SafeStart concepts so they become an easy to use personal skills. And again, thank you so much for doing what you could, even with a day where you've got field work going on and such. I really appreciate you doing whatever you can to be able to make these sessions enjoyable for you, and hopefully, and definitely enjoyable for me to be able to get feedback from everybody. Um, Thank you so much for your participation. I will see you again in Unit 3, and thank you for your patience with